Actually, in the teaching it says one can practice loving kindness or compassion associated with wish, bodhicitta, and aspirational prayer or prayer. But we can add the fourth one, which is the supplication. I think in the teaching it says three, but it has the meaning of these four kinds of practice. But I think in some other texts, in some other teaching of not necessarily the Lamjit teaching, but some other teaching, I think it says like four types. Fourth one being the practice that is associated with the supplication. But here also the meaning is there, but it is not divided as a separate kind of practice. Now the second compassion is called the compassion in reference to the Dharma. So here mainly it refers wishing the sentient beings to be free from the ignorance, which means apprehending inherent identity of phenomena. So which is the root of the 12 link, not the first of the 12 link, but the root of the 12 link. I think the one that is in the 12 link is the apprehending inherent identity of the self, of the person. But the root of the 12 link, which is also known as ignorant, but that ignorance is the apprehending inherent identity of phenomena. So wishing them to be free from such suffering or such ignorance, wishing all the sentient beings to be free from such cause of suffering is called the compassion in reference to the Dharma. Actually, the word Dharma, as it is said by the great Acharya Vasubandhu, the word Dharma has 10 different kinds of meaning depending on different contexts. So Dharma not always means Buddha Dharma. It has more than that, depending on different contexts. So here, when we say great compassion in reference to the Dharma, I think this Dharma does not mean the Buddha Dharma. So anyway, here this compassion means wishing all the sentient beings to be free from the ignorance. This ignorance also, not all kinds of ignorance, but this ignorance refers to apprehending inherent identity of the phenomena, that kind of ignorance. So for example, if a person is sick, then it's important to do treatment, to receive medications. But the more important thing is to remove not only the sickness, but also to remove the cause of sickness or the root of sickness. If one cannot remove the root of sickness, even though one is recovering from sickness, after some time one can again have this sickness because the root is still there. So So it is important to remove the root of the sickness or the real cause of the sickness. Otherwise, one cannot recover from the sickness completely. So similarly, one wish all the sentient beings to be free from the source of all these sufferings, the root of all these sufferings. And so wishing all the sentient beings to be free from suffering and the cause of suffering in general, and especially the root cause, which is the ignorance that refers to the apprehending inherent identity of the phenomena. And that can also be practiced associated with wish, associated with bodhicitta, and associated with prayer or the aspirational prayer, and also can be associated with the supplication. And now the third kind of compassion is called the compassion in reference to no object. So no object means the ultimate view or the ultimate truth. In the ultimate truth, nothing is existing. We are not existing in the ultimate truth. And the Buddha, the teachings, the study, contemplation, and meditation, all are not existing in the ultimate truth. All these phenomena are in the relative truth. And not only that, even the words that we use for ultimate truth, like ultimate truth itself, or absolute truth, or emptiness, all these words that refers to this truth, all these words are also not the ultimate truth. And also, all the descriptions that we describe about the ultimate truth are also not the real ultimate truth. So, in short, ultimate truth itself is free from any words, any description, any explanation. So, we say the state of ultimate truth is beyond words, beyond thought, or in other words, we can say it's an inexpressible state, and inconceivable state. So there's no object in the ultimate truth, no object at all in the ultimate truth, according to the Madhyamika school. So, in the ultimate truth, nothing is existing. All the samsaric and nirvanic phenomena are not existing in the ultimate truth. But those who fail to realize this, then for such person, they cling to phenomena, and they cling existence as non-existent or non-existent as existent. Actually, I think they cling non-existent, or they cling non-existent as existent, or existent as non-existent. So they're killing existent as non-existent, non-existent as existent, and they're killing false as true. So they have great illusion. And due to these great illusions, they are experiencing great suffering. So we really generate great compassion towards such person, or towards such sentient beings, or towards all these sentient beings. Compassion in reference to no object means all these sentient beings who fail to recognize this no object or this ultimate truth. Because of this, they have great suffering. So we wish them to be free from such suffering and the cause of suffering, etc. So this is the compassion in reference to no object. So those who fail to realize the ultimate truth, for such beings, we generate great compassion. We develop great compassion. So up to here is the study part. So today's main topic is on the great compassion, which also has three kinds. The great compassion in reference to the sentient beings, great compassion in reference to Dharma, and great compassion in reference to no object. So we need to study, contemplate, and meditate on these teachings. And if we can apply these thoughts into our mind, then definitely we can be a better person and we can help others much more than what we can do now. So we should not be content with the knowledge of great compassion. We must apply the knowledge into action. If we know how to make food, but if you don't make it, if you don't eat the food, then there's no point of knowing how to make the food. We learn how to make the food to make and to eat, not just the theory. If you just know the theory, if you don't practice, if you don't use how to make the food, then there's not much point on learning how to make the food. So similarly, just knowing how to practice compassion or just knowing the meaning of compassion is not enough. After knowing it, we must apply, we must practice, we must put it into action. So then we can have the result of this great compassion. Otherwise, if you just leave it on the theory, then it won't have great impact. It won't yield a great result. And now the practice part, like preparation is refuge and supplication prayers. And then also one can practice the previous topics in brief, and then today's main practice, which is the great compassion. So first, the compassion in reference to sentient beings, that also need to practice step by step. First to one's mother, then father and relatives and friends, and then to neighbors and other beings who are from same town, city, etc., and then to enemies, and then to all the sentient beings, and then practice the compassion in reference to Dharma, and then practice the compassion in reference to no object. And then at the end, the conclusion part, which is to do the proper dedication. So with this, I will conclude today's teaching on great compassion. Now, we will have the question and answer session since today is a.
The first questions are general questions regarding non-virtues. The first one, actions motivated by anger are generally characterized as being directed against others. How is self-hatred explained from a Buddhist point of view? What is the right view to adopt, and how do we practice compassion for ourselves?
When we say to develop great compassion to all the sentient beings, I think that includes ourselves because we are also sentient being. And actually, whether we have hatred against other or against oneself, just being hatred itself is a negative, it's a fault. So actually, in the teaching, or according to the Buddha's teaching, it says killing oneself is more serious than killing others. So committing suicide is more serious than killing others. So therefore, self-hatred is also a negative. Is the question?
And how do we practice compassion how do we develop compassion for ourselves?
So when we learn how to develop compassion to all the sentient beings, so that time it also includes oneself because we are also part of the sentient beings. So just by knowing how to practice compassion towards all the sentient beings, I think that includes oneself. So no need to practice separately. But if you want to emphasize more, then you can practice separately, which like you can practice separately, just like you practice first like mother and then father, etc. Just like this, we can also practice separately. Otherwise, it also includes in sentient beings.
Second question, how is it possible that the number of human beings is continuously increasing while at the same time virtues decrease in this world?
Actually, all the results are not the result of this life or not the result of this century. It can be the result of past lives, it can be the result of the past centuries. So we cannot connect between present action and present result together. Normally, cause and result are not at the same time. So if the cause and result are at the same time, then the cause doesn't produce a result because result is already there at the time of cause. So we cannot connect these two. We cannot think cause and result are same. So if you know the result is the caused by previous actions, not by the present action, then I think we will know why why the human beings are still why human beings is continuously increasing at the same time virtues decrease in this world.
Your Holiness, you mentioned the 5 heinous actions and 5 minor heinous actions. Could you please elaborate on the 5 minor heinous actions and their results?
Actually, in the Acharya Vasubandhu text called Abhidhamma Kosha, it says, Mata Chama Sunchata, Chanju Samba Yeneta, Lavasatan Gindinki, Duegone Tawata, Samepatan Chada, Navachitan Jigmayins. So it means, this explains about the 5, what do you call, minor heinous crime. So first is to kill a mother who is one's mother, who is also arhat, Matajama, who is mother and also arhat. So killing such mother is the first one. And then second one, Sanju Samba Never. la. Like realized bodhisattva, killing the realized bodhisattva is the second. Then third, killing those who are on the path. So since this Abhidhamma Kosha text is based on Vaibhashika school, so in this it refers to the 7 stages of the path. Gyunshu shukpa dan dene, chiwon shukpa dene, chimyong shukpa dene, tene dachumba shukpa di dun la, di dun kangrung neba tanto seba la, tene nyewe tsamya sumba ti sumera. Loba soya dansa. Gyunshu shukpa dan khana lang na shemas.
So the Sharvakayana path, there are the what do you call the realizers? So steam runner, once returner, no more returner, and arhat. So each of these 3 have
4.
steam runner now. 4. Each of these 4 steam runner, enterer, abider, once returner, enterer, abider, and no more returner, enterer and abider, 6 plus arhat. These 7, when you kill,
arhat shukpa,
the enterer to the arhatship, not the abider. So excluding the last one, abider, then we have 7, right? These 7, if you kill any of these 7, and this is the 3rd minor heinous crime or heinous downfalls.
And the 4th one is the way we're going to talk about means like if we snatch or if you use monk's food or monk's if someone dedicate this offering to the monks, and if we use their kind of belonging or their offerings to one's own use or for one's own family members or friends, etc., then that is the 4th minor heinous crime. And then the 5th one is out of anger, if we destroy statues or dharma books or stupas, etc., is the 5th heinous crime. 5th minor heinous crime. So it is called minor, like killing a realized bodhisattva. It's like similar to killing father. Killing mother arhatship is similar to killing mother, and killing these one of these 7 who are on the path is like killing arhats, and schism dividing the sangha. Similar to this one is using the sangha's offering to one's own usage or one's families or etc. And then similar, then the actually 5th heinous crime is shedding the blood. Causing Buddha to bleed. Similar to this one is destroying the statues and dharma books and stupas, etc. So these are the 5 minor heinous crime. And as in the commentary it says, these 5 minor heinous crime will also have the result, which is to take rebirth in the hell realm.
If in a dream we commit a serious non-virtue, such as killing, and the act includes the preparation and the conclusion parts, does this become a complete act of killing, which will produce a certain ripened result?
It's not the same. For example, in our dream, we can dream of attaining Buddhahood, but it does not mean we are really awakened or we are really enlightened. So it's not the same effect or same kind. So because actually in the dream we don't have the actual physical body. The one that we see in the dream is called mind body, mental body. In the dream we have the mental body, not this body, not physical body. We have the mental body. So if the mental body kills someone else, and that other one is also a mental body in our dream, so it will not have the same effect.
Now a few questions related to physical non-virtues. The first, we know that certain medicines we take will kill millions of organisms in our own body. Is this considered an act of killing, which can prevent us from obtaining a human body in our next life, or even result in a rebirth in the lower realms? How should we think when taking such medicine?
I think this kind of action can be considered as a chela masabele. Action performed but not accumulated. So it's not that serious because we don't have the preparation part, or we don't have the intention to kill, and at the end, we don't have the conclusion. We don't have rejoice. We don't feel joy about this. Actually, we don't notice about many of the people don't notice that we are killing these and these germs when we take this and that kind of medicine. So we can say this is performed but not accumulated action. Then it's different, I think. If we have any action that has the complete part, the preparation, main, and the conclusion part, if we have all these three, then it is more serious.
If I may continue now, after asking this question and getting the answer, we all know that we are killing. So how should we, once we know that we have to kill these organisms?
It depends on your mind. It depends on how you focus, how you emphasize.
A question on abortion. In certain cases, the life of the woman that is pregnant can be threatened. If the pregnancy is continued, she may die. In some cases, women are violently raped, and sometimes we know that the child, that's another case, we know that the child will have a life of great physical and mental suffering from birth. What is your perspective on such cases with regard to abortion?
Generally speaking, abortion is a negative action. And in this world, I think hundreds of thousands or millions are killed through this abortion. I think the most life that we lost in this world is through abortion, not through war, or not through battle, or not through fighting, but through this abortion. I think it happens in many different countries, or maybe we can say all countries, or most of the countries in this world. So, first question in this, regarding to this abortion, difficult to say, but normally we say gaja the gaba kancho cha and teacher go to yours.
we have to look at the situation of what is more what is more important or what is more priority at this time. Something that is to be um, abstained from is more important than one might do so. If the situation allows you to go ahead and perform whatever it needs to be performed at that time, which brings more benefit, then I think we should go with that. But there's no like one answer which is black and white kind of thing. It's a situation by situation.
For example, the bodhisattvas, if they have taken the Vinaya vow, and so since they've taken the Vinaya vow, they need to keep the precept of the Vinaya rules, or they need to keep the Vinaya rules. But sometimes, for the sake of for the sake of others, or for the sake of sentient beings, sometimes, they can disregard some of the minor Vinaya rules in order to keep the bodhicitta vow, or in order to help others. Shenting yun na tunga message or change sambala.
Yeah. So this is the which was talking about a situation where a bodhisattva is a ordained monk, and for that bodhisattva, he has to really focus mainly on the Vinaya. However, there would be a situation where the Mahayana precepts kind of overrides the Vinaya precepts. So that's why if some situation allows him to perform because there's more benefit for the sake of sentient beings, then I think that bodhisattva can ignore in some ways the Vinaya rules. So that is the exception.
So now the second question on abortion. In some cases, women are violently raped. Even whether they are raped or not, once they are conceived, once a baby is conceived, it is not right to kill. And the third question, I think, is the same answer. Whether one is going to be born as a handicapped or as a inability child, but still, I think we need to carry on. We need to they need to deliver. They cannot do abortion.
Question on stealing. Certain websites distribute movies and music for free, even though they might not have the legal rights to do that. If we download such material, is this considered an act of stealing?
If you don't have the right, so if you don't have the permission to do so, then I think it's a part of stealing.
On sexual misconduct, what is your advice to LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in terms of lay precepts and sexual misconduct? If such people are not willing to give up sex altogether, is it an obstacle on their Buddhist path in general? And in particular, does this prevent them from entering the Vajrayana?
So I think that in the teaching it does not say clearly on these things. Maybe they are not there at the time of Buddha. So anyway, if it is a sexual misconduct, then it means so sexual misconduct also has complete sexual misconduct action or incomplete sexual misconduct action. If it is a complete sexual misconduct action, then of course it can destroy the vow. But those who did in the past, but not doing now, then they can enter into the Mahayana path or Vajrayana path. Just like Angulimala can enter into Vajrayana path after killing 999 persons.
Now a question related to verbal non-virtues. If our speech is truthful and well-intentioned, but it results in separating or hurting people, is it non-virtuous speech?
Yeah, I think any speech that divides two person or two society or community, etc., are called divisive speech, irrespective whether they are true or false. So divisive speech not necessarily means only the false speech. Even if it's a true speech, if that can divide the two groups or two person, then I think that is also considered as a divisive speech, which is one of the of negative verbal action.
Now two questions on purification. If we still feel regret about an action that we already practiced purification for in the past, does this mean that we need to continue purifying it? In other words, how do we know if a negative action committed in the past has effectively been purified by our practice, including the four powers?
So this was the same question. So how we know? Actually, by doing the like Vajrasattva practice, etc., as it is said in the Lamde teaching, as a sign of purification of these negative actions is to have lighter body and also dreaming about vomiting or coming out some pus and blood or vomiting out of your body, or taking shower, like cleaning, etc., are the sign of perfecting the practice of purification. So these are some examples, some signs.
And so in this question in particular, if we still feel regret about an action, is this a sign that we still need to keep purifying?
About the negative action?
A particular action.
Negative action.
Yes.
I think when we have the regret, then we should confess, we should purify through the four powers. Then after that, then I think we should not regret. Otherwise, if you still have the regret, then I think it means we still don't have the fourth power, which is the power of revival. We don't believe in such purification ritual, or we don't have strong belief in such method. So I think that can, that can hinder you to purify completely. Believe in the method. So after adopting such a method or remedy, then we should believe that now it's purified. But the fourth power, the third power is not easy, because it's to have a strong promise not to repeat the same mistake again. So as an ordinary human being, we cannot promise not to have idle talk in the rest of our life. So third power is not that easy. But just by having the regret, it can decrease the nature of negative actions.
If we enjoy watching others commit negative deeds on TV, including animals kill each other, does this contribute a full negative action? Does reflecting on, that's one part of the question. And the second part, does reflecting on the ultimate reality of the agent, the object, and the action purify this karma?
So watching animal killing others in TV, at that time whether one commits negative action or not depends on our own intention or depends on our own mind. If you don't have the wish that this like tiger to kill the deers or zebras or other weak animals, if you don't have such wish, if you don't wish that this fearful animal can kill these weak animals, if you don't have the wish in the beginning or intention for this animal to kill, anyway, if you don't have the preparation part, and if you are just watching without having this intention or the preparation part and no conclusion, then it means there's no preparation, no main part, no conclusion part. So therefore, just by watching it, we will not have the negative thought, a negative action. But if we have the preparation part and conclusion part, then even though we are not killing, but still we will have the negative. So it depends on the person who is watching the TV. And then the second part is
reflecting on the ultimate reality of the three spheres, the agent, the object, and the action. Does this purify whatever negative karma we might accumulate by enjoying animals being killed by others?
does reflect on the ultimate reality of actually there's a saying by meditating on emptiness, which means by meditating on emptiness one can purify the stains. So if one practice the through the, what do you call this? And then if one practice on the non-existence of these three, which is like which is run by the wisdom, right? So this wisdom, of course, can purify the karma, negative karma.
Now, 3 questions related to vows. Is the result of non-virtuous deeds, such as killing, for example, the same, regardless of whether or not one has taken the vow to abstain from such an action?
Actually, generally speaking, the negative action has two, what we call Rangshingi Kanamoto and Chebe Kanamoto. Natural negativities and prescribed negativities. So, actually killing is a natural negativities, but then within that also those who have the vow will have more severe consequence than those who don't have the vow. Although both will have the negative, both are doing the negative actions of killing. Both are having the fault, but the one who has the vow will have more severe consequence. Just like between monks and lay people, monks and nuns will have more result, whether they are doing good or bad, they will have more result than the lay person.
Vows.
because of they have the celibacy vows or the fully ordained vows or novice vows.
It was explained that we damage our refuge vows if we take non-Buddhists as our spiritual friends. How about marriage? Does marrying a non-Buddhist impair any of our vows, whether refuge vows, bodhicitta vows, or Vajrayana vows?
I think it depends on the situation, right? So main thing is not to share the practice, not to disclose the practice.
No, two more questions. Related to the bodhicitta vow, or bodhicitta vows, how do we purify our transgressions of the bodhicitta vows? And then related to that, is taking a Vajrayana empowerment a method to purify all our vows, including the bodhicitta vows?
Actually, during the empowerments, we receive the refuge vow and we receive the bodhicitta vow. So that can revive or restore our refuge and bodhicitta vows. But to do this, we need to have the visualization, not just repeating the lines or words after the guru. But we need to have the full visualization. So in order to receive the vows during the empowerment.
And last question on the suffering in the bardo state. Could Your Holiness please explain to what realm the Pardo beings belong to and describe their experience and how we can help them best?
Actually, in the beginning part of the Pardo, they belongs to same race or same being as the dying person. If the dying person is a human, then the beginning part of that Pardo is also human. Then the how to say remaining part of the Pardo or the ending part of the Pardo or is same as the future life, belongs to the future lives being race or realms. And normally, how can we help them best? We can help them by using their properties or belongings in a right way, and also not crying, not grieving, but doing good actions for them that can help them. If we cry or if we are in grief, etc., then that will harm the Pardo beings, because Pardo being, although they don't have a solid physical body as we do, but still they have this kind of mental body, and their body is like it's in the nature of light, so they can go through the walls, through the Rocky Mountains, etc. Wherever they wish to go, just by wishing, they will reach there. They don't need to put effort to go there. So their mind can go anywhere, to any country. And since they have these clairvoyance, and also they can see what their family members or friends who are left behind, what they are doing for this person, for this Pardo being. So they know if they are in grief, if they are crying, then this Pardo being will see, and that will create more worries and more distractions. And also, if the remaining members use the belonging in a wrong way, then this part of being all will also see, and that will affect more, and that will create more hatred or more negative thoughts in the mind of the part of being. So it's important to use their property or in a proper way, and also not to cry, but to do good things for them, etc. That will help them.
Thank you very much.